Hi, I am Jude Niroshan, and you have found my Java programming course. In this first video lesson, we will be covering a general introduction to Java language. If this is your first time here, I am Jude Niroshan, a passionate technology enthusiast and an Oracle Certified Associate Professional in Java. This course is designed for anyone who is eager to learn programming, and I am committed to guiding you every step of the way until you expertise in Java. I would love to connect with you on social media and welcome your feedback and insights. Thank you. This course I prepared for anyone who is willing to learn Java from the beginning. So it doesn't matter whether you have prior experience in programming or not. I also encourage that it doesn't matter at what year and what age you are going to start following this course, because the content and resources in this course are very rich and provide you a very solid understanding about this programming language. It is a must in today's world to have a good, profound programming literacy when it comes to working with our day-to-day lives. I cordially invite everyone to follow until the end of this course. Here is the course syllabus I have prepared for you. As you can see, we are still at the very beginning of this series. First of all, you might be wondering how Java differ from other programming languages that are available to you. I have listed down one of the notable ones, but there are many more. First, of course, it is an easy to learn programming language. If you follow this course along with me till the end, you will understand what I'm saying. Java is also an object-oriented programming language, which means you can develop software applications on Java while modeling real-world objects inside that and having relationships among different objects. That is quite handy when it comes to developing highly complex software. Java also has many inbuilt libraries. That means it has a lot of existing libraries provided from the Java language itself without needing to add extra additional libraries also. That means you can develop complex software without writing everything by yourself, and it will reduce the time and faster time to the market. Java language also a platform independent language, which means you can write your Java program in any platform and you can run it on any different platform. We call it as write once and run anywhere. Java language has automatic memory management for you. In that case, you don't need to deallocate the memory references in your program. As an engineer, that's a lifesaver. Also, Java has been widely adopted across enterprise applications. Therefore, it has a very high demand when it comes to IT job market. All programming languages can be categorized into two groups. They are high-level programming languages or low-level programming languages. The programming languages that today we often hear, most of them falls under high-level programming languages because they are more closer to a human language, more specifically English. And also they provide a lot of abstractions which are quite useful to write complex software. On the other hand, the low-level programming languages are quite challenging to learn and write software because they are more closer to the hardware layer. When we talk about Java and the history of it, we cannot forget about James Gosling. He's the person who invented this programming language back in 1996 when he was working at Sun Microsystems. That company was later acquired by the Oracle Corporation that we know of today. Here are some abbreviations or short names that you must remember when working with Java. First and foremost, we have Java Development Kit. We call it as JDK. Java Runtime Environment, we call it as JRE, and Java Virtual Machine, we call it as JVM. These three components are heart of the Java programming language. They are interrelated to one another and they all together forms the entire Java programming language. On the right hand side, I have listed down different editions when it comes to Java programming language. The first one is the Java Standard Edition. That is the edition that you and me going to use during this course. This standard edition is meant for general purpose programming. On the other hand, we also have something called Java EE, which is Java Enterprise Edition. That edition is more targeted towards developing enterprise software applications. We also had something called Java ME, But today we no longer have this particular edition because we use Android system to develop Java applications. Java architecture, just to recap, and about those three components in the Java language. At the heart of this programming language, we have the JVM, which is Java Virtual Machine. And around JVM, we have the Java Runtime Environment, which is the JRE. If you want to run a Java application on any computer or digital device, what you need to have is Java Runtime Environment. If you have Java Runtime Environment or JRE, you can run any Java program on top of that operating system. But in this course, we are one step ahead. That means we are going to develop applications using Java programming languages. We are not going to simply use any applications which are written by Java, but we are going to develop our own Java applications. Therefore, we need some extra tools and libraries in order to achieve that. That's where the JDK comes into play. JDK refers to Java Development Kit. That is meant for somebody like you and me. All these three components together, we call it as the Java Standard Edition. If you recall from the previous slide, I'll also mention this is the edition that we are using during this course. Java has different distributions. Distributions are builds of Java source code. It can be either for Java or Development Kit or Java Runtime Environment. Java is an open source programming language, which means anybody can go and look into the internals of Java and even make or propose changes to the programming language. This project you can look up on the internet called OpenJDK. OpenJDK has the source code for the Java programming language. And there are some companies take the open source, this particular OpenJDK code and make a build on their operating systems or in their platform. And they make a build or call it as a distribution for their customers. So that's how we have multiple distributions from the OpenJDK project. And please note, OpenJDK itself make a build from the OpenJDK project. You can either download the OpenJDK distribution or from any of the listed vendors in the market. The purpose of this vendor specific distribution is basically from the vendor, they test and validate a particular Java version that can be run on their software or platforms. It is a confirmation for their customers saying they have battle tested this particular Java version. For this course, it doesn't matter which distribution you are going to download as long as it is a latest Java version. The character that you see on this screen, we call it as Duke. And it is a cartoon character that was first appeared on the handheld device which James Gosling used to write his first software application. Java has rich history. Therefore, the language has evolved over the time, which means there were multiple releases, and during those releases, language had added new features. I have listed down some notable Java release version numbers and their notable feature that was added to the language. There is a term called LTS, which is long-term support. That is not only for Java, that is a general thing when it comes to software applications or even programming languages. Whenever you work with a programming language or use a software, try to stick to a LTS version because the maintainers or the developers of that particular software or the programming language, they will provide long-term support, which means you will receive security and upgrades free of charge for an extended period of time. Java language is a very unique language because it has this platform independent feature that was facilitated by having an intermediate layer called Java compiler and the Java virtual machine. Any Java program that you write on your computer cannot be executed right away. It needs to be transformed into a machine readable format. That process is governed by this particular Java compiler and the Java virtual machine. Let's take a moment to understand how platform-independent feature is enabled in the Java language. Let's imagine you have wrote a Java file called person.java. This file needs to be compiled. That's the first step in this programming language when we want to run any Java program. You must compile that particular source file, and then you will receive or generated new file called person.class. Please note it will be from the same name as the source Java file, which is person.java, but the file extension or the format is .class file. And the content inside that file is not human readable. That is meant for the Java runtime environment, and more specifically the JVM. So we call this as bytecode, which is not ones and zeros. It is something else which is meant for Java runtime environment. Once we have the bytecode, we can take that further down the process, which we are going to dynamically link with the standard libraries in Java and then submit it to the Java runtime environment. And underneath the Java runtime environment, we have the JVM, which communicates with your operating system and submitting your Java statements as instructions to the operating system. As upcoming Java developers, semicolon is your friend now. So embrace your new friend, because you need to use the semicolon at the end of every Java statement. It is more like using full stop at the end of a English language sentence to denote that's the end of the sentence. It is the same case here, but we use a semicolon. Please don't forget your semicolon, otherwise you will face compile time issues. Alright, my dear students, you made it till the end. So here's a summary what you have learned during this video. You know who is James Gosling. He's the father of Java language. You know JDK, JRE and JVM, these three components in Java. You know the difference between the bytecode and binary in Java. And also, Java is a platform-independent language thanks to JVM. Java is an also object-oriented programming language. Don't forget the semicolon when you are going to write Java programs. Alright, my dear students, I hope this was an interesting session for you. And please stay with me for my next video, which we are going to install Java.